I have a question for you guys. Did you know that your pictures, your photographs are talking to you? Did you know that? Some people are nodding, and other people are saying she's crazy. Okay, I'm leaving. Or we're gonna call the white coats and have her hauled off. No, and have you been listening is my next question, and I'm really not crazy. So and if you'll bear with me, I'll prove my point and you'll see what I've been talking about. So 10 years ago at the Escondido Arts Partnership, I rented a room to exhibit my pictures that were sitting idle in my computer, thousands of them. And I didn't exhibit thousands of pictures, only about 30, but out of thousands that were sitting in my computer, I thought, I gotta do something with these. I want to just put it out there. Any one of you always often feel that you just wanna put your pictures out there? Anybody over here? Yeah, you got it, of course. Of course, it's something that you're creating. It's your baby, you want it out there, you wanna express. You're expressing part of you and you wanna put that out there. And this is part of my argument, so bear with me. Anyway, I was going over all the pictures that I had put up in this room, and as I was going over them, because I had left them in this room all by themselves, and I'm like, oh, my babies are all there, because I really consider my work my babies, and for you too probably, all that you create, those are something that comes right out of you, out of your gut, out of your being, and it's expression of who and what you are. And just like our kids, to some degree, even though sometimes you want to disown them, they are expressions of who we are. So I was thinking about my pictures, and this one came up. This one was in my show, and this one is called Navigating in the Mist. So navigating, I'm going to be like this a little bit so I can see what I'm putting up on the screen. So navigating in the mist, if you notice, right over here, I know you probably don't notice, is a very tiny little kayaker that's navigating in the mist on Lake Hodges. I live in Escondido, and he's really kind of lost in the mist. You'll notice mist is one of my favorite subjects. I do photograph it quite a lot. I find there's something very intriguing about that, and it says something about me. But the navigating in the mist really came up for me, and as I was thinking about it, I said, gee, that kayaker, he's kind of lost, and he's finding his way on this lake, navigating in the mist, and all of a sudden, I just stopped. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh my God, this picture, that's about me. That was me. I have been navigating in the mist most of my life. And of course, needless to say, I started to cry. It was such a huge revelation. I had not realized that my picture was about me. And then I went and I thought about other pictures in my presentation, in my exhibit, and they were all, I said, oh, that one's about me, and that one's about me, and oh my God, they're all about me. So this is part of what, this is introducing this whole idea that the pictures are telling you something about you. This picture was definitely telling my story, and I was shocked. I mean, how could that be? The picture saw me, knew what I was doing, but it didn't just appear out of nowhere. It came out of me. I focused in on it on Lake Hodges, not unbeknownst to me that it was something that it was telling me. And I focused in on it, and it became my story. Every artist dips his brush in his own soul and paints his own nature in his pictures. This is a quote, of course, by Henry Ward Beecher. And even though we're not painters, we're photographers. We use our camera, we don't use our paintbrush, but we're still expressing. That's what we use to paint a picture, our cameras. So the themes in my presentation today you'll see is ocean. You'll see pictures of ocean, fog, trees, vistas. And of course, they'll be about introspection, spirituality, psychology, and abstracts. that are like metaphors. And even all my pictures will be somewhat metaphoric because they all convey a message. And as I go through these pictures, I want you to start thinking about your own pictures. What are these pictures saying to me about me? What is it trying to communicate to me? This was a big revelation for me. So the creative process, much like a painter, we're using our camera. And as I was doing the research, maybe I should take this off here. As I was doing the research, how do I take this off? What's that? Do I loosen it or? Because I'm always moving, I'd rather hold it in my hand than.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We can even move the.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Podium away.
Oh, that's cool. That would be great. Yeah, I don't need the podium really. Okay, so so the creative process, unlike painters, we use our camera. And as I was doing research, I found this about the creative process. Albert Einstein says it's intelligence having fun. And I thought about that and I said, well, that's true. Because we need to use our intelligence to use a camera. Lord knows I had to. I mean, there's so much to know about it, right? And there's so much to know about photography. There are so many nuances, the kinds of paper, the camera settings, all the paraphernalia that goes with cameras, the lenses, the different lenses that you use, all that is all part and parcel. But I think we're having fun, right? We are having fun. But ultimately, I think, and you'll find in this presentation, that it's a journey of surrender and discovery, which is what I found. Because for me, it was a kind of a surrender and then a real big discovery, an aha moment. So the camera captures and works with light. This is a mechanism that works with light. So I came to realize I'm also a very spiritual person. I'm a Christian, and also I call myself a Christian Buddhist, actually, to some degree, but my basic belief system is Christianity. And so what I've come to believe is that the camera is a sacred and spiritual mechanism that captures light. Because in all kinds of spiritualities, you're going to always find the reference to light. And I promised myself I would look up how many times, for instance, in the Bible, light is referenced. I'm sure it's countless times. But without light, there is no seeability. And that's my word, that's a Katieism, no seeability. So in the Bible, we have a reference that says, let there be light. God is light in the heavens and the earth, says the Quran. Jewish mysticism portrays light as divine emanation and a fundamental aspect of God. And in Buddhism, light symbolizes enlightenment, truth, and the dispelling of ignorance. So really, wow, we're like priests and priestesses, with this beautiful mechanism in our hands, really working with light that is really something that comes from, I believe, God. So when it comes to a camera, and I think a lot of you might disagree with this quote, but Ernst Haas, an Austrian-born photojournalist and pioneer of color photography, said that the camera, I'm pressing the wrong button. The camera up here the camera doesn't make a bit of difference. Of all of them can record what you are seeing, but you have to see. And I do agree with that statement to some degree, because a camera does make a difference, and I'll explain that to you. Right now, as a matter of fact, Ernie and I were standing in the same spot, taking the same picture, and Ernie is one of these gadget guys. He wants to buy the latest, greatest, best, and he wanted to upgrade his camera, and I'm saying mine is fine, thank you very much. So he got this real fancy camera, and we were taking a picture of the Badlands up at Fonts Point. You guys ever been there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. And it was sunset and moonrise. Beautiful, but the light was very low. He took pictures, I took pictures. We went home, and he started processing, and I started processing. Mine was an old camera, his was brand new. And then he showed me what he had, and I'm like, how did you get that? How come my camera didn't pick up all the color that your camera picked up? Because his camera was newer, better, greater, more advanced, higher technology. Mine was an old camera. and it didn't pick it up. So in that sense, camera does make a bit of difference, but you do also have to see, because you can have the fanciest camera in the world. I remember taking people on photo tours, people with the fanciest cameras. They didn't know how to take a picture for anything. I mean, it was just terrible. So it does matter that you have to see the subject that you want to take a picture of. So this is my process. I look for something. I look for something to draw my attention, start looking. And then my heart, what am I attracted to? I look for an attraction. Well, I think we might all have that same process. And then I'm listening for that inner voice, that wow factor. And that inner voice and wow factor not only happens at the time of shooting, but also at the time of processing for me. So then, of course, my mind, so this is the 4 factors that have to enter into it for me. The mind, how to best photograph it. I have to consider lens selection. I have to consider the rules of composition. I have to consider camera adjustments, tripod, shade the lens, shade the lens or not, use a diffuser or reflector, time and place. All these are factors that I have to consider when I take a picture. Some of us do it already automatically, but some of us really have to pay attention, especially if you're a newbie. So for the camera geeks, sorry, I do use an iPhone. I use an iPhone. Do any of you use iPhone cameras? All right, okay, go. That's great. I love it because they're amazing. Sometimes my DSLR does not do the trick. The iPhone does what I wanted to do at that time. And also, I don't have my DSLR with me all the time. I have my iPhone in my pocket all the time, or in my purse. And when I see a beautiful scene, I take that shot with my iPhone. But the DSLR, you'll see images here that I've taken pictures with. What I have right now is the Canon EOS R8 mirrorless. And then I used to have a Canon EOS 6D Mark II. And then I had a Nikon D100, D200, D300, and another D600 something or rather, I can't remember. Those are all images that you'll see from all of these cameras. I wonder if you'll be able to tell the difference. All right, so we have to be in the right time and place. So, oh my God, see, that's totally distorted. That was not the way it was when I made that PowerPoint presentation with that red line through it. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Okay, so, well, we'll just have to deal with it. So if I'm not in the Eastern Sierra in the fall at sunset with the sun shining through those leaves from the back and setting them all aglow, I would not have been able to take this picture. So we also have the right time and place. And of course, I had to know what I was doing. I did put it on a tripod. And I don't remember any of the settings, honestly, to be really honest. I did sell this picture many years ago at my first exhibit for $600. Way to go, right? Yeah, I was excited about that one. Yeah, I love this picture. The first snow in the Eastern Sierra, this was another one. I mean, if you're not there at the first snow in the Eastern Sierra, you're going to miss this shot. And we were so excited. We were camping up there. Ernie and I always go up for the fall color. We haven't been in a couple of years. It really bums me out. But we used to go all the time. We used to take photo tours up there, teach people photography. And we were camping and it started to snow. And so we beelined up to the Bishop Creek Canyon. This is North Lake. And this is what I call a snowy winter road. And I love this picture. I've sold it many times. People always ask me, is that a painting? And I say, no, it's an actual photograph. Now, I'm using this, and I'm going to use, Ernie and I were both in the same spot, standing in the same location, taking the exact same picture. Aha! Now comes the difference of expression, right? You'd think it'd be all the same thing, right? Not so. So the way we take a picture, what we take a picture of, how we focus that in that picture, how we frame it, everything about it, how we zoom in or zoom out, everything has something to say about who you are and expresses your own individuality. Let me prove to you. All right, this is Ernie's photo. my photo, Ernie's photo. So when I was telling him I wanted to do this, I asked him to give me his photo, and he came up with this one, and then he looked at mine and he goes, hey, yours is cropped in. He says, let me crop it, let me bring it back to you. So I said, okay. So he brought me another one, Ernie's photo cropped. But see how the difference, look how different it looks. So now here's mine, here's Ernie's uncropped, and here's Ernie's cropped. Look at that. All different flavors, right? Different sense about it. Each one says something different. Now, I bet if I were to talk to everybody in the room, everyone would have a different interpretation of what it means to them and how they see it, or how it strikes them. And that's normal. Some people would say, don't even like it. Okay, cool, that's fine. And some people would say, oh, well, that means this to me, that means that to me. My framer, anybody, do you guys know ABC framing? Do you remember Chumley, the dad? Yeah, that was his favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one in the middle, that was his favorite. I gave it to him, I gifted it to him, and he had it over his fireplace, God rest his soul, right? Yeah. And I still get my pictures framed with Kathy.
I'm picking one up on.
There you go, she's great, isn't she? Yeah. So, moving on. So we all tell a different story, and that's true. All our pictures tell a different story. It's very important, of course, to have the golden hour. You know, the golden hour is that quality of light that occurs at that point in time. Sunrise and sunset, we all know, are the best times for the golden hour. So this is a picture from Mount Hu. This is a picture from my back patio, looking out on the view, looking southeast and the mountains. And this is, of course, I used a zoom lens for this one. It's sunrise, and it's called The Mystical Morning. And it really expresses that sense of mystery to me, and it's got a softness to it. And you'll notice that a lot of my pictures have a softness to it. There is a softness probably about inside me, and that softness is probably my sensitivity. My dad used to cruelly tease me and say, I'll show you my little finger and I'll make you cry. And sure enough, I'd cry. I was very sensitive, always have been very sensitive. So the softness is probably, that's part of what I'm expressing in this picture. And then you have that, again, that fog element. Remember, navigating in the mist? There it is, there's that fog. That fog is always present. I'm always finding my way. This is the same view from my house. Now this one is a panorama. I stitched this picture together, but this was on a different morning. See how different, and again, see possibilities. The S was right beside it. What happened? I think your program and my program are not that compatible. Anyway, whatever. So this sunrise, this is the sunrise again on another different day. And of course, here you get the sense of expansiveness, of large, of breathing space. The other one was more intimate, if you noticed, if you remembered. It was just more intimate. And then this one is, I called Stability and Change. Now, what I have done, God, I hope it'll translate on the screen, is after I realized, I don't even think I knew this before I did my presentation, or my exhibit, and I had this aha moment. But I all of a sudden started to write poems and little paragraphs about my pictures and what it meant to me. So this is what I wrote about this one. There is something mystical about morning fog. I know the sun is there behind the curtain. The peach glow and subtle forms gradually lifting from the mist all show the promise of the light emerging. Of this, I am certain. Encouraging. It lifts my spirits. It gives birth to hope. The ever-constant pulse of life with all its moods and shifts tells me that all is as it should be. Everything evolves. Never quite the same, and in that realization, there is comfort. Stability is found in the constancy of change. This poem, I'm also a writer. I write for the Escondido Times Advocate and the Escondido magazine, and I've been writing a blog all along, and I write poetry. This is how this picture, this is how it spoke to me. This is yet another morning on Mount Hu, the same kind of thing, but now with a wide-angle lens. And I call this watercolor morning, and I process this with Adobe Photoshop. They had this option to render it as a watercolor. And I thought, wow, that's kind of fun. And I did do that, and I won an award for this at the Escondido Art Association Gallery. Yeah, actually, the judge was a watercolorist. And she said, how did you do that? And it's a photograph. Yeah. And so this one has a different flavor to it yet again. It has kind of a sense of intimacy, yet there's still that sense of more colder, cooler, calculated because of the colors, as you notice. This is another view of that same view with a different sunrise, but it was so beautiful, it looked almost like a sunset to me. And so then I called it, I was looking for a Christmas card, and I thought, hey, this kind of reminds me of Bethlehem. I don't know why, it just kind of reminds me of that. So I thought, let's make a Christmas card. And in Photoshop, I put on O Holy Night, and I put on a little symbol of a star. Again, of course, there's my Christian spirit coming through here. We talked about the golden hour after sunset. This is an iPhone image that I processed in Snapseed. You guys know anything about Snapseed? Don't you love Snapseed? I love Snapseed. This is a walkway, a little path, a road near my home, right up where I live on Mount Hu. And the sun was setting, and the mountains were kind of, there was the mist settling in between the mountains, and I processed this, and I just find this magical. And I really, with this picture, I kind of felt one with the picture. I felt that all this beauty and creativity is in all of us. And beauty and creativity is out there, and it's within us. So we're one with creativity, and creativity is one with us. And that's that way, that's how it came across to me. Shattered Dreams. I won this at the Del Mar Fair. I won special award for this many years ago. Jennifer, that's the one I won the award for. Shattered Dreams is it's an old cabin that's on the side of the highway between June Lake and Mammoth. And Ernie and I have driven by that, I don't know how many times, and I'd say, one of these days I want to stop and take a picture. One of these days, and she says, not right now, let's go, we got to go here, we got to go there, we got to take a picture here. So finally, this one night I said, that's it, we're stopping. And this was a result of that. Now, Shattered Dreams is quite an emotional picture. It's about dreams that you had that never came to be. And during my first exhibit, a woman came to me in tears. This was there in my exhibit. And she said, Katie, this is my childhood. This is what I lived. It just moves me to no end. I have to buy this picture for my sister who's going through a hard time. I want to give it to her to encourage her to know where she's come from and where she's going now. And so she did buy the picture. And the next thing you know, I got a picture of my pictures on the wall at the head of her sister's bed in her sister's bedroom. And she says, that's where it stands. That's where it sits, because it's there to inspire. So you never know when your pictures may be talking to you as this talked to me, because I can relate to Shattered Dreams. I imagine a family going there trying to build a future, and then it never happened. That's a story that they're telling. And we all have stories like that. We all have stories. You all have stories to think about it. You probably don't have to raise your hand, but I'm sure you all had dreams that never realized, and they were shattered. So we can all relate. Clouds Illusions, another one I won an award for at the Escondido Art Association Gallery. This one, I think about, that's me, the bird, standing out, looking out over the immensity of the world and wondering what's real and what isn't real, what's illusion and what's reality, and getting lost in the illusion sometimes. So there it is. Yeah. This expresses me. I can be very silly sometimes. I love being silly. I remember I'm a college instructor. I used to teach the travel and tourism up at a university in Canada. I'm Canadian, now an American, proud to be, by the way. And I remember when I was teaching, I would do the craziest things for people to learn things. I would do the nuttiest things in class, and people would laugh at me and say, you're just so nutty and silly. And I went, well, did you learn something? I'll never forget it. And that's the point. That's what you want to do, and that's part of me. That's a giraffe at the Los Angeles Zoo. So I love this giraffe. Beauty Within. This is a very feminine picture, and it's the interior, it's a macro interior of a lily. And it really, how do I relate to this? It expresses that sensitive, tender, delicate inside that's me. And it's beautiful. And I find that encouraging because when I was a little girl, my father forbade me. He didn't like me being sensitive. He said, you've got to develop a thick skin. Life is hard, you've got to develop a thick skin. Don't cry, don't be sensitive. Well, so then I always thought that being sensitive was the wrong thing to do. But I'm so glad because this tells me that it's okay to be sensitive. See how they communicate with me? This is Mauve Moonrise. This is the moon rising over the hills of Escondido. And I just love the mystery of it. Again, the mysticism and also the fog. And mystery is always something that always fascinates me. And again, the mountain silhouettes. Ernie always calls this Katie light because I just am fascinated by how these mountains can be in the silhouettes. This is in the Borrego Desert. This is a picture on the coast of BC, a BC coast. It's the mountains, and I refer to this as, now I lay me down to sleep. When I think about that, they're like big giants who have just laid down and are going to sleep. So it's very peaceful, but it also tells me that it's okay to be colorful. Peace and color go together. Excitement and peace somehow can combine and bring out a beautiful picture like this. As you notice, I'm also putting little notes of rule of thirds. This is a wagon, an old wagon at the at Bodie. I'm sure all of us have been to Bodie by now, right? And I love this, the depiction of this. Pardon me? This wagon, I love this wagon because it gives us a lesson. You know, just because we're old, it doesn't mean we're not beautiful anymore. This wagon would never be as beautiful if it were brand new. It's all the dings, the wear and tear that makes it as beautiful as it is. And I rendered it in a sepia tones to bring out the old from it. It's complicated is breaking the rule of thirds. It's complicated. This is bushes that are all tangled up, and they reflect in a pond. This is up in the Eastern Sierra. Ernie was fly fishing. It was twilight. It was getting really late, and I was about to pack up. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw this image, and I thought, wow, I got to take that image. But you know, at late at night, the blues come out more, the blue colors, the blue tones. But it wasn't like that when I brought it home. I actually kind of left it in my computer for a long time. And then when I was going to have my exhibit, I thought I better go through my pictures and see what I can process. And I came up with this one, and I started playing with the blue lever, I call it lever or whatever, in Lightroom. And all of a sudden the blue popped, and I was like, oh wow, I love this effect. It's a kind of a surreal abstract, but I love the effect that it gave. And also, if you look over here, you might not see it from there, but there are little pink flowers strewn, and then the green grasses. Of course, I highlighted, I brought out the pink, I brought out the green. And so in life can be complicated. It has all kinds of twists and turns, and we get all tangled up in all kinds of messes. But ultimately, there are some beautiful flowers, some moments of joy, moments of peace, and the green grass we're always fed. Dusty Dreams. This is also, I won first prize for this, gold for this picture at Escondido Art Association Gallery. Of course, Leading Lines, it's a great one for leading lines. I was fascinated by this picture because of all those old bottles, all the different colors of bottles, and the way they sat there. And there's something kind of, there's a pathos to it. It's beautiful, but there's pathos in it. And these are all old bottles that are left there, forgotten, dusty. And so I wrote about it. I wrote, dust gathers on empty dreams of once green hopes, blue romance, orange fantasies, leaving brown reality, clear truth, scattered thoughts, the helter-skelter messiness of life. Once, they intoxified, purified, edified, nummified, temporary joys and strife. Now, left behind, silent and drained, resignation reigns, only the memory remains of dusty, empty, long abandoned dreams. Dusty dreams. The mighty power of yin. I'm also, now this also speaks to me. My second profession after teaching travel and tourism and spending a lot of time there is being a holistic health practitioner. And as a holistic health practitioner, I had to learn all about Oriental theory, Oriental medical theory. So yin and yang was part of it. Yin is water. Yin is the moist. So the power of yin here is expressed with that waterfalls. But then if you look, the light here, the rays of light, that is yang. So the yang shines down on the yin. And also I like to look at it as God inspiring me to move forward and move forward with force, the force, but with a yin force, not a yang force, not a hard, brutal force, but with a soft, flowy force. I love this picture. It's Zen. It's simple. I call it the KISS principle. Ernie and I, we talk about that when we teach photography. Keep it simple, silly. And of course, color and mass create emphasis. And this is a yellow leaf on snow with the first snowfall up in the Eastern Sierra. And I love the negative space on the left and just that one leaf. And this I sold as well. This is a lotus, a picture I took of the lotus at the lotus pond up at the Deer Park Monastery. The Deer Park Monastery was founded by Thich Nhat Hanh, a Buddhist monk, who teaches about the mud and the lotus. He says that the lotus is the most beautiful flower in the world, and it can only grow as beautiful because of the mud and the murkiness and the disgusting mess that it grows in. So he says it's a great metaphor for life. When there's mud in your life, hopefully there's lotus. And the lotus also represents enlightenment. So yeah, I love the metaphor of this, so I'm always encouraged When I got mud in my life, I'm looking for that lotus. Vigilance. This was a picture I took on the way up to Bodhi with the, have you guys seen these flocks of sheep on the way up? Yeah, have you seen them? Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I was just fascinated when the first time I saw it, and I thought, I got to take a picture, but I really didn't know what to take a picture of. And I was scanning with my camera. I was just scanning. And all of a sudden, I came in on this dog that was just looking at me like, what are you doing? He was really guarding a sheep. But look at the sheep. They couldn't be bothered. They just feel totally relaxed. So then here for me, here's my Christian background again, saying that, God is watching over me. I don't have to worry about anything. There it is. It's kind of a real metaphor for me. Moving forward. Move forward in the fog. This is a blue heron over Lake Hodges in the fog. And it tells me that I can move forward and trust that you will land in a safe place. Move forward, even though, sometimes you're kind of navigating in the mist. Just keep moving forward. Here's another one, follow that star. Do you guys remember a few years ago, they had that alignment of several planets that almost were superimposed one on each other in the sky? Do you remember? That was a few years back. Do you remember that? Well, Ernie and I went on to the beach, to Oceanside Beach, to take a picture of it this night. And there were these people that were in this tent on the shore, and I just love this idea. And that was the star, I call it the star, it was the planets aligned. And what I did in Photoshop, I made it look like a star. It was just so much fun. And of course, a friend of mine, my best friend, this is her favorite picture. She says, this is my most favorite picture of all. And follow that star is the idea for me. I always have high ideals. I always want to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. Remember that song? Yeah, that's part of who I am. I try. I fail a lot, but I try. But miracles happen. This is the lake up at Palomar Mountain. It's called at Will Valley. We went to photograph the meteors. And this teaches me patience to wait for that miracle to happen. Because, you have to sit there and wait and take 100 pictures, with your camera set on a timer, taking every minute, another picture, another picture, another picture. And then you take it home, and out of the hundreds of pictures, you hopefully have one with a meteor, and there was that one miracle that happened. It's a beautiful picture. And then this was another one of the same lake, but on a different night. Clouds coming in, no meteors, because the clouds came in and we couldn't see them, but I love this clouds, and I call it angel's wings, because that's what it reminds me of, angel's wings, the angels watching over me. On the rocks. So I thought I would give you a little bit of an insight into my process as well. Sometimes when I really feel down, I'll go into my pictures and to the ones that are sitting in my computer, the ones that I didn't think were really worth anything, and I try to process them again, make something out of it. So out of this one came this. So from here to here, this was La Jolla. And again, there's that theme of yin. Now this one is yin meets yang. Yin, water washes over yang. So the idea here is that soft flow. Sometimes brutal force isn't the way to achieve something. Sometimes with patience and with persistence, you will make way. Because as the water washes over these rocks, it will wear it away with time. So that's the lesson there. The next one, again, another yin-yang picture. Ernie saw this as I was before I came away, and he goes, "Well, that's great." He says, "That's a wonderful picture." He says, I would process it differently, and I hadn't processed it. It's just raw. This is a raw image." And he says, "Oh, well, why didn't you process it?" And I said, "Because I made this out of it." And he goes, "Oh, I remember that picture. Yin Yang, I sold this picture as well in my first exhibit." And again, I love the interface of the yin with the yang. And it's that, for me, it's kind of an achieving a balance. It's interfacing. It's allowing for both and then working together. Seaside sunset, as I took the picture originally, and then this is what I made out of it. Look at how different it looks. Isn't that something? You wouldn't even think it's the same picture, right? But it is. And I love that. And I love, again, the interface of the peach and that blue, those beautiful contrasting colors, but work so well in harmony. So maybe I would like to call this harmony. At the zoo, this is what happened when I processed it, and then I could even process it even closer, cropping the image even more. Of course, Ernie would say, "That's that tiger in you, Katie. That's the leopard. Beware." All right, art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time. Thomas Merton. And this is true. This is up at Lake Wolford. Lake Wolford? Yeah, Lake Wolford. There's these grasses, and in the first show, I had this one, and I sold this one as well. Again, it's very Zen-like. Not much in it, but I love that, all that negative space, and it's just beautiful in its own right. Inspired Visions is the name of what I call my business now. I call it Inspired Visions by Kati Cowan. This is a picture I took of a student of ours in the Alabama hills. And I rendered it, and I look at the gold and the royal blue, and I just find it's like me being in my element. Me and blue, royal blue and gold is like majesty, you know, it's majestic, it's kingly, it's like I'm in my royal home, so to speak. I'm at home, I'm at ease. This is the best place ever in my photography. Love and Live. This is a picture from La Jolla, from I think Torrey Pines, looking over the ocean. And I wrote about this. It says, "Those dark times that are desolate and oh so terribly lonely drag us along, gripped with fear to show the way." Because the truth is, love lights up our load. We find that seeing is freeing. That fear kept us blind or focused on the narrow, contracted lies about our worth. Heavy laden, believing we have no power, we pretended to be crippled, whereas we know how to fly, yet deny our wings. We waste our life, a victim of our illusions. Ignore the frightful murmurings that keep you ensnared from living a life of plenty that is yours if you dared. Take flight, dear one. Be bold and soar. Turn away from doubt on the sidelines no more. Life is for the living, juicy and rich and free. Fill your heart to brimming. Love and live jubilantly. Relentless power, again, that concept of yin. I love the power of the ocean. I mean, it is fierce, you know, and if yin is the female aspect. So beware of women. Again, water, but in this, look how the rendering of the water in this one compared to this one is different. This one, it's kind of mysterious and what's lurking in the deep, whereas this one is more, I find, about birth in the beginning. It kind of makes me feel like this is where we've all come from. This is the beginning of existence. Rainy day, the mood. I'm sometimes weepy, and the rainy day shows me that it is okay to weep, but I'm also cozy in my home. This is through the window of my home on Mount Hu. Gethsemane. This is a picture I took up at Lake Wolford, and again, this is my Christian side to me that comes out. I picture Jesus praying under this tree right here. And what really moves me about this thing is whether you believe in Jesus or not, it really is irrelevant, but some of the lessons that he taught us are amazing. He taught us I think about Jesus, how he suffered. He knew when he was praying under this tree, that he was in for a real bad ride. He was in for being mocked, tortured, and then executed in the most cruel and ruthless way, which is called crucifixion. And then what did he say on the cross while he's hanging there? He said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Wow. To me, that is really something. How can you forgive somebody when they've done that to you? But he's probably teaching us something about forgiveness. This I call wisdom. And this tree is an old oak tree up on Palomar Mountain. And the reason why I call it wisdom is because it's old and strong and it lasts forever. And I just find the strength and very, very inspiring. Evening mystery, this is trees up in the Eastern Sierra. This one is kind of that, spooky, what's in that forest? Don't go in the forest tonight, You might meet with a big surprise. All right, so let's go on to iPhone images. On the left is the picture that I took. On the right is how I processed it with Snapseed. And I find that really lots of fun. In my last show when I was presenting this, someone pointed out to me, and I did not know that, again, that this here, she said to me, "Katie, this is all about Jesus. Look at that." And I went, "Oh my God, I didn't even see that. That is Jesus there, and it's like as if he were crucified." I had no idea when I took that picture. I didn't even have any inkling at all. But she pointed that out to me. So sometimes we take pictures and we don't even realize why we do that. And then this was Welcome Home. I love the way the trees kind of lean in and welcome you. It's kind of saying, "Hey, where you been? Thanks for coming home." And it's kind of a welcoming feeling. Surrealism. We were on the beach. Ernie cast a shadow and there was a pile of rocks. So these are the pile of rocks. This is Ernie here, of course, his shadow. And I said, pretend that you're carrying those rocks. I just thought that was really kind of neat. But then when I thought about it, and after when I was processing it, and I processed it in Snapseed, man, I was really, really stoked by doing this one. It was really crazy and wild. I thought, wow, in life, we carry the burdens of life around. Life can be really tough. And sometimes, man, it can get really crazy. And we just don't even know what's right or what's wrong. And things are upside down, downside up, the wrong color. There we go. This was also another one I took, another picture I took, and I processed in Snapseed and surrealism again, and it's reaching for the sky is what I call it, and I did sell this picture as well. This one is abstracts in nature. This is an agave that I took right just outside of my home, and it's called The Tapestry of Choices, is what I wrote about it. The leaves of this agave create an intriguing and artistic design as they fan out in different directions and overlap. The choices we make shape color, and affect the nature of our relationships and the tapestry of our life. In effect, it creates a design of sorts, and we end up with the life and community we have. What design do we want to create? Architecture, this is the California Center for the Arts at night that I took with my iPhone. Really loved it, rendered it again in Snapseed. And pathways are really meaningful to me. Passageways, also these are passageways at the Center for the Arts that I also rendered in Snapseed. And again, they beckon you and it's showing you the way, kind of. Back to DSLR. Almost done here, folks. Weeds. These are buckwheat that I took, again, in the fog, not far from where I live. And they really spoke to me, and this is what I wrote about them. I wanted exotic flowers that everyone would wow. I sought applause and accolades to prove my worth somehow. The tangled weeds that grew instead are wild and bold and free, making their own way sometimes with dread, without approval or decree. Weeds are my proclamation, affirming life and liberty, my ecstatic realization, I'm walking my path for me. And this is really relevant for me because I often find myself looking for outside approval. I don't really want to live my life like that. I want to live my life being authentic and true to me. I think we can all speak to that. More weeds, I really love them. This is resilience. These grow on the side of the road up in the Eastern Sierra, and they were backlit by the sun. And I just had to take a picture of it, and I thought, wow, you know, these brave little weeds, they just thrive there on the long, that's concrete, that's the blacktop over there. And they're thriving, and these cars are whizzing by, and they're just buffeting the flowers, and they're still hanging in there. I am like so surprised at that. And so they really inspire me by their resilience. No matter what life might buffet you, but hang in there. Diversity. You know, we're all so unique, and I'm coming to a close to my presentation, just a few more slides. Diversity, we're all so unique. And without acknowledging our uniqueness in our photography, in whatever we do and whoever we are, we would never have a beautiful picture like this. If that black leaf wasn't there, this wouldn't be half the picture. But it made it more exciting, and all the different colors and hues and shapes and lines. Freedom is a very important thing to me. I'm of Eastern European descent. I'm Hungarian. My parents fled communism, and my relatives lived under communist rule for a very long time. And I know what loss of freedom means. And so here this bird sitting on a barbed wire fence says, "You can never contain me." And also we can look at that in an esoteric way. Emergence, it's supposed to be emergence. Emergence, these are trees that grow not far from where I live, again, the fog. So as we emerge out of the fog, we find peace. And this is over Del Mar. And I love the way I can even separate it like that. Imagine that on a wall like that in separate canvases. Peace. So ultimately, art acts as a mirror and a tool for self-discovery. And I hope you got that out of this presentation. That's me looking in the window of an old house up on Bodie. And I want to thank you for hanging out with me.